Which country is the legitimate owner of the Ilemi Triangle? Is it South Sudan or Kenya? Hello, welcome to SSGTV South Sudan Global. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe as we will continue to bring you informative videos. The Ilemi Triangle is a 10 to 14,000 square kilometers semi-arid area sandwiched between South Sudan, Ethiopia, and Kenya. This area is frequented for cattle grazing by 5 ethnic groups: Taposa and Dinka of South Sudan, Nyangatom, Dongiro, and the Senach of Ethiopia, and Turkana of Kenya. While the Ilemi Triangle is traditionally known to be belonging to South Sudan, Kenya started laying indirect claims to the Ilemi Triangle. Ethiopia, which borders the Ilemi Triangle, has never made any claim to the Ilemi Triangle. The claims to the Ilemi Triangle have led to low proxy wars that are being fought with no end in sight. According to international observers, it is alleged that Kenya provides arms to the Turkana tribe on the Kenyan side, while Ethiopia provides arms to Nyangatom, Dongiro, and the Senach on the Ethiopian side, and Taposa on the South Sudan side is known to have arms, given that South Sudan emerged from civil wars with its northern neighbor or Sudan, and disarmament exercise has never been carried out in Taposa land. The practice of cattle raiding among the Turkana, Nyangatom, and Taposa is being exploited by the contesting governments. Today, pressure on natural resources, mainly water and grass, has increased the conflict between the ethnic groups. In the past, disputes and conflicts between ethnicities were settled with traditional weapons. Today, each group has access to automatic weapons, which is contributing to massive loss of life. Of the two countries laying claim to the Ilemi Triangle, Kenya has been the most vocal and brazen in its attempt to grab it. In fact, Kenya has disregarded international boundary lines, e.g., the boundary line surveyed by Captain Philip Mott of Royal Engineers, known as Mott Line, 1902 to 1903, which put the triangle in Sudan's control under the British hegemony. South Sudan inherited the Ilemi Triangle when it seceded from Sudan in 2011. Sudan got its independence in 1956 with its borders demarcated, while Kenya got independence later in 1963. As we speak, Kenya has not only wrongfully laid claim to the Ilemi Triangle, but also encroached on Nadapal, and even more provocatively, Turkana provoked Taposa by saying Nakodok, a small historical town in the heartland of Kapwaita East County, near Narus, belongs to them. This is what has really woken up the Taposa community and held demonstrations to alert South Sudan government of the gradual encroachment on its unmanned border with Kenya. As widely known by all and sundry, the initial border between South Sudan and Kenya was at Lokeshogio in a small valley known as Kivez. This initial border force was shifted during South Sudan independence process down to Nadafal, a move that was not challenged militarily or lawfully, probably because the Southern Sudan Army, the SPLA, now SSPDF, or the Southern Sudan government, goals of President Kiir was super busy with independence struggle and independence preparations in 2011. Not only that, the SPLM-led government could have been possibly hoodwinked in its spirit to protect South Sudanese refugees by allowing temporary border force for their safe passage to Kenya. In our today analysis, we have analyzed 4 undisputed reasons why the Ilemi Triangle legitimately belongs to South Sudan, not Kenya. Number 1. The name Ilemi Triangle. The Ilemi Triangle extends all the way to Anuak tribe in South Sudan. The Ilemi Triangle name itself undoubtedly makes the area South Sudanese. In fact, the triangle name is derived from Anuak chief Olemi Akwon. There is no Kenyan known as Olemi Akwon. We challenge our Kenyan brethren to tell us if they have any other original name for the triangle than the South Sudanese do. Number 2, Ethiopia siding with South Sudan. In 1902, 1907, and 1972 treaties, Ethiopia had sided with the Sudanese rightful claim to the Ilemi Triangle. Ethiopia outrightly stated in those treaties that the Ilemi Triangle belongs to South Sudan, not Kenya. We therefore asked our Kenyan friends to tell us whether the treaty declared that the Ilemi Triangle belonged to Kenya and not South Sudan. Number 3, Uganda-South Sudan Boundary Commission. In 1914, the Uganda-Sudan Boundary Commission gave total access of the Ilemi Triangle and Lake Turkana to Sudan. Fortunately enough, Sudan did not consistently lay claim to Lake Turkana, even though it should, perhaps because of the civil wars it had been entangled in. Again, the Commission document does not state in any way whatsoever that the Ilemi Triangle belongs to Kenya. We peacefully challenge our Kenyan partners to refute the contents of the Uganda-Sudan Boundary Commission report, which is readily available. Number 4, temporary agreement between SPLA and Kenyan government. Documents in our possession indicate the SPLA temporarily gave the Kenyan government a short-term mandate to place KDF troops in the triangle for security. This was done when South Sudanese were fleeing from Ethiopia to Kenya. Fearing a slaughter of civilians en route to Kenya by the Arab-allied militia, Dr. John Garang reached out to President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, and the KDF troops were stationed in the Ilemi Triangle all the way to Nadafal. Also, the KDF was to serve as a buffer zone between the Tafosa and the Turkana. Dr. John Garang did not want the civilians fleeing to Kenya to be caught in the middle of cattle raid wars. In conclusion, South Sudan is an independent country. It is high time Kenya returns our lands peacefully and at all costs respects the territorial integrity of South Sudan. South Sudanese shed blood to today have a country called South Sudan, achieved through bullet and ballot. We don't want any conflict between Kenya and South Sudan. These are sisterly countries with a lot in common. The border issue can be solved amicably without bloodshed. It's usually that there is no military solution. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to SSGTV South Sudan Global.
Thank you. Thank you.